Bengals beat the Browns 17-16. The Browns outgained the Bengals 327-141 and had the ball for nearly 36 minutes, but it wasn't enough. And this is why you need to find your quarterback. I don't know why y'all fooling with Joe Flacco. Y'all know Joe Flacco's not taking y'all anywhere. He's not your quarterback of your future. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose trying to find out who my quarterback is. That's just me. I don't care. I don't care if it's Gabriel. I don't care if it's Shedeur. I don't care who it is. I just know Joe Flacco ain't your quarterback.
Moving forward, Shedeur Sanders reacted to Ryan Staub, third string quarterback who saved Colorado Buffaloes from losing to Delaware 24-7. Primetime Deion Sanders has still yet to name a starter ahead of the matchup against Houston. He also spoke about his son, Shedeur Sanders, reaching out to Ryan Staub after the amazing performance that he put out against Delaware. I'm going to play these video clips and let you guys hear what Coach Prime had to say as we close this video.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. I've got to be honest with you guys. What we just watched in Cleveland was flat out embarrassing. And I don't just mean the loss on the scoreboard. I mean the way this franchise is handling its quarterback situation. Joe Flacco, 41 years old, out there throwing the same soul-crushing interceptions we've been watching for years, while Shedeur Sanders, one of the most talented young quarterbacks in the game, is sitting there in a hoodie, holding a clipboard, untouched on the depth chart. Tell me that doesn't make your blood boil. The Browns outgained Cincinnati 327 yards to 141. They had the ball for nearly 36 minutes. Statistically, they dominated. And yet they lost 17-16 because their quarterback couldn't finish drives. That's not just bad luck. That's a failure of vision. That's a team refusing to face reality. And you know what? It feels like betrayal. Betrayal to the fans who pack that stadium every Sunday. Betrayal to a roster that deserves better. And betrayal to the future of the franchise that's sitting right there on the bench. I mean, let's call it what it is. This is Cleveland's history playing on repeat. We've lived through this nightmare before. From Tim Couch to Johnny Manziel. From Baker Mayfield to Deshaun Watson's off-field chaos. It's been nothing but instability at the most important position in the sport. And here we are again, pretending Joe Flacco has answers when everyone knows he doesn't. This isn't 2012, this isn't the Ravens' Super Bowl run. This is a washed veteran hanging on while the Browns are too scared to take a chance on the future. And the media? They're not holding back. Shannon Sharpe went nuclear. Ryan Clark flat out said it's malpractice to keep Shedeur buried. Every talking head is echoing what fans already know. This isn't just a questionable decision, it's a catastrophic one. When you've got a young quarterback who can bring energy, leadership, and a spark to a lifeless offense, and you choose instead to ride with a quarterback who was already declining half a decade ago, that's insanity. But here's the part that really stings. This isn't just about one bad game against the Bengals. It's about the Browns refusing to turn the page, refusing to admit that the future is right there, staring them in the face, and instead clinging to the past like it's going to magically save them. And the fans know it. You can feel it in the air. That frustration, that sense of déjà vu, that boiling anger that says we've been here before and we're tired of it. This is the boiling point, Cleveland. This isn't just a loss, it's a flashing red warning light. A reminder that if this franchise keeps ignoring the future, it's going to keep repeating the same painful past. And that's where Shedeur Sanders enters the conversation. Because what he represents isn't just talent, it's hope. And trust me, this story is only getting started. Now let's take a step back from all the chaos in Cleveland. Because before we get lost in the frustration, we've got to remind ourselves who we're actually talking about here. This isn't just some emergency quarterback. This isn't some random clipboard holder who lucked his way onto an NFL roster. This is Shedeur Sanders. And if you've been paying attention, you know exactly why that name matters. Let's start with the basics, the arm. The kid has NFL caliber velocity. He can rip a 20-yard out with the kind of zip that makes defensive backs flinch. He's accurate too. We're not talking scattershot throws or lucky deep bombs. At Colorado, he carved defenses apart with anticipation, ball placement, and poise in the pocket. This isn't a raw prospect who needs 3 years on the bench. He's polished, he's precise, he's built for the modern game, and yet the Browns are treating him like a developmental project. Like he hasn't proven himself on every stage he's stepped on. Emergency quarterback? Come on, emergency quarterbacks don't put up 500-yard games in college. Emergency quarterbacks don't stand toe-to-toe with powerhouse programs and deliver in the clutch. Shedeur Sanders has already shown he belongs, and the only people pretending otherwise are the ones too scared to make the move. But here's what really sets him apart: leadership. While he's being overlooked in Cleveland, he's still making moves that prove what kind of player he is. Think about that moment with Ryan Staub. Colorado's third stringer steps in, saves the Buffaloes from disaster against Delaware. And who's the first big name to reach out? Shedeur. Not a quick tweet, not a lazy pat on the back, but an actual phone call, a real conversation, a moment of mentorship. That's what quarterbacks do. They elevate everyone around them, even when it's not their moment to shine. That tells you more about his character than any stat sheet ever could. And if you've watched this league long enough, you know that character matters. Jalen Hurts was doubted at every step, but his leadership turned a locker room into believers. Josh Allen got clowned for his accuracy issues early, but his toughness and maturity gave Buffalo the confidence to build around him. CJ Stroud walked into Houston and instantly changed the culture. These guys weren't handed the keys because of hype. They earned respect because they made their teams better from day one. Shedeur Sanders is cut from that same cloth, so when I hear people say he's not ready, or he needs to wait, I can't help but shake my head. Ready? He's more ready than half the quarterbacks who were thrown into the fire their rookie year. Waiting. The only thing we're waiting on is Cleveland's front office to open their eyes. Because here's the truth. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a backup. He's a potential franchise quarterback. The kind of player who could change everything for a team that's been searching for decades. And that's why this whole situation is bigger than one depth chart. This isn't about development. This is about fear, hesitation, and wasted opportunity. But as much as that frustrates me, it also fires me up. Because if Shedeur can bring this kind of leadership and poise while sitting on the bench, imagine what happens the second he finally steps on that field. And trust me, that moment is coming. So here's the question every fan keeps asking. Why is Shedeur Sanders still stuck at QB3? Why is one of the most talented young quarterbacks in the league buried behind a 41-year-old journeyman who's throwing games away? The answer isn't football, it's politics. And if you've been watching this league long enough, you know exactly what I mean. This is veteran favoritism, plain and simple. Coaches and front offices love to talk about stability, about experience, about trusting the guys who've been there before. But here's the problem. Experience doesn't win you football games when the arm is gone, when the reads are late, when the mistakes keep piling up. All the been there before in the world doesn't matter if you can't do it now. And Joe Flacco, he can't do it now. That's the reality. Then there's ownership pressure. Don't think for a second that decisions like this happen in a vacuum. You've got owners who fear shaking up the locker room, who don't want to look like they're panicking 2 weeks into the season, who convince themselves that riding with a veteran is safe. Safe. Tell me what's safe about wasting a game you should have won against Cincinnati. Tell me what's safe about keeping your future franchise quarterback on ice while fans walk out of the stadium shaking their heads. That's not safety. That's cowardice. And here come the excuses, the same ones we hear every single year. He's not ready. You don't want to rush him. He needs to learn first. I'm sorry, but I'm done with that narrative. You don't get better holding a clipboard. You don't sharpen iron by keeping it in the sheath. Justin Herbert didn't sit around for 2 years before exploding onto the scene. Lamar Jackson was thrown into the fire mid-season and never looked back. CJ Stroud walked into Houston last year with the weight of an entire franchise on his back, and instead of crumbling, he turned into a superstar right before our eyes. These guys didn't need endless waiting. They needed belief. They needed opportunity. And they proved ready the second they got it. So why are we pretending Shedeur Sanders is different? Why are we acting like he has to sit behind a quarterback whose best days are a decade behind him? It's not about readiness. It's about pride. It's about a front office too stubborn to admit they might have gotten this wrong. It's about coaches terrified of ruffling feathers in the locker room, terrified of admitting that their so-called plan isn't working. And who pays the price? The fans. The players busting their tails every week. And Shedeur himself, sitting there watching opportunities slip away. That's what makes this sting. It's not just a coaching decision. It feels like betrayal. Betrayal of a fan base that's waited decades for a real quarterback. Betrayal of a roster that deserves more than empty veteran presence. Betrayal of a young talent who's done everything right, shown maturity beyond his years, and still gets shoved to the back of the line. Fans are tired of it. Tired of the excuses, tired of the politics, tired of being told to be patient while the season slips away. And sooner or later, the pressure is going to boil over. Because you can only ignore the future for so long before it forces its way onto the field. And when that moment comes, the Browns won't just be making a quarterback change. They'll be exposing the truth that all the politics in the world couldn't keep Shedeur Sanders from proving who he really is. I'll tell you right now, this story isn't ending with Shedeur Sanders holding a clipboard all season. It can't. The writing's on the wall. And if you've watched football long enough, you know exactly how this goes. Joe Flacco will stumble. He already has. And when he does again, the pressure will be unbearable. That's when the breakthrough comes. That's when Shedeur steps in. And when it happens, Cleveland won't just see a quarterback change. It'll feel like the entire city just woke up. Picture it. The Browns' offense, flat and lifeless for weeks, suddenly has a spark. Shedeur breaks the huddle, calm but fearless, and immediately starts pushing the ball downfield. Teammates rally because they can feel the difference. You can't fake energy. You can't fake belief. And when a young, hungry quarterback finally gets his chance, you see it ripple through an entire roster. Guys block harder. Receivers run sharper routes. The sideline gets louder. That's the effect of a quarterback who actually inspires hope. And don't let anyone fool you.
Shedeur is ready for that moment. He's been patient. He's been disciplined. He hasn't caused drama, hasn't lashed out, hasn't let frustration take over. That's mental toughness. That's professionalism. That's the kind of preparation that makes the transition seamless when the opportunity comes. He's not going to step in rattled. He's going to step in prepared. And that's why this breakthrough feels inevitable, not just possible. Now, if you're asking me when it happens, I've got my eye on this exact stretch. The Ravens this week, maybe week 3, maybe week 4, definitely no later than week 5, because if Flacco keeps making the same mistakes, there's no way this coaching staff can justify keeping Shedeur glued to the bench. Fans won't allow it, media won't allow it, and eventually the locker room won't allow it either. We've seen this movie before. Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith, and the second Kansas City gave him the reins, the franchise transformed. Josh Allen was called raw, inaccurate, a project, and now he's the face of Buffalo football. Joe Burrow walked into Cincinnati and overnight turned a laughingstock into a contender. One quarterback can change everything, and Shedeur Sanders has that kind of upside. That's why this isn't just about making a switch, it's about breaking the cycle. The Browns have been chasing mediocrity for decades, patching holes with short-term fixes, refusing to bet big on the future. Shedeur represents a clean break from that pattern. He's the only real shot this team has at rewriting its story. And the moment he steps on the field, everyone's going to feel it. This breakthrough is coming, whether the Browns are ready or not. And when it does, the only question will be, why did it take this long? Let me say it loud and clear, because it needs to be said without hesitation. Shedeur Sanders is the future. Period. And the longer the Browns drag their feet, the more obvious that truth becomes. You can feel it in the fan base. You can hear it in the media. You can even see it in the way his teammates talk about him. There's no denying it anymore. This kid isn't hype. He isn't just a storyline. He's the answer that Cleveland has been chasing for decades. Because when he finally gets his shot, and trust me, it's not if, it's when, the critics are going to eat their words. All the doubters, all the analysts who said he wasn't ready, all the front office voices preaching patience, they're going to watch Shedeur step on that field and realize they underestimated him from day one. The arm is there. The leadership is there. The moment is coming. And when it does, it's going to change everything. I'm not talking about a couple of flashy throws or a one-week spark. I'm talking about a quarterback who can flip the identity of an entire franchise. We've seen this before. Patrick Mahomes made Kansas City believe again. Joe Burrow turned Cincinnati into contenders overnight. Jalen Hurts silenced every critic who said he couldn't throw, and now he's leading a powerhouse. That's the kind of transformation Shedeur Sanders is capable of delivering in Cleveland. And that's why this isn't just about him. It's about us too. The fans. The people who pour their money, their energy, and their loyalty into this team year after year. We deserve better than watching washed-up veterans throw games away. We deserve better than being told to be patient while opportunity rots on the bench. We deserve a franchise that actually believes in its future. So here's my rally cry: demand Shedeur. Demand better. Don't accept excuses. Don't let this organization off the hook for playing politics while the answer sits right there in front of them. Because the truth is, this quarterback controversy isn't a controversy at all. It's a countdown. And every single fan in Cleveland knows what's coming. When Shedeur Sanders finally steps onto that field, we're not just going to see a quarterback taking his first NFL snaps. We're going to see the birth of a new era. We're going to see hope take shape in real time. We're going to see the future of Cleveland football. And the only question left will be this: why did it take them so long to give us the quarterback we've been waiting for?